Hey, good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome into the Volquest Mailbag Podcast. I'm Aaron Kane alongside Austin Price, Grant Ramey, and Brent Hubbs. A lot of questions here on this Thursday. Just, 9 days until kickoff. A week from Saturday, Tennessee and Syracuse. So a lot going on over on the Journal's Quarters and at Volquest.com. Today on the Mailbag, we'll start with RockyTopRay. Does the offensive line rotate as much as recent seasons, or are they durable enough for starting five to take the bulk of the snaps?
Well, they only rotated really at one position last year. And that was because John Campbell couldn't get through a game. He had to rotate out for whatever reason. So outside of that, I mean, Spraggins played basically all the snaps. Cooper Mays played all the snaps. They didn't rotate much at the other guard spot. So I think the question is, do they rotate at all, Austin? They talk about it every year, seemingly like they think they can have an advantage if they play 6 or 7 with their tempo and stress the defensive line. But I don't think we've seen enough of that evidence to say that's what they want to do. I think they'll ride with 5 if those 5 stay healthy.
Yeah, and I think it depends on how they're doing, right? I mean, if Jesse Perry goes up there and he's playing great, then the likelihood is as long as he can stay out there, that he's going to keep playing. And same thing with the center spot with Pendleton. And I think a lot of it depends on how they play in games, but absolutely. I mean, the history tells you they don't rotate a lot. Now, history would also tell you that, they're always not going to stay healthy and you're going to have some guys banged up. And then who knows kind of the combinations if they were to go down a tackle or whatever and how they shift it all around. But, again, I'm with Brent. I think history tells you, they say one thing, but, they don't necessarily follow through just because when they like who they like who they like.
SmokeyGray, we haven't heard much on the summer or in fall camp about special teams in the kicking game. With Eckler's departure, do we expect any changes in our scheme? With the experienced kicker and punter, can we expect this to be a strength and a difference maker in tight ball games?
I think Evan Crabtree was dictating a lot before, when Mike Eckler was here. I think Eckler had a say in certain things. But, I mean, as far as, the biggest question is what do they look like when they just kick it off? Like with gunners and stuff like that, and what do they look like, with punt return, and maybe some strategy there. But as far as just kicking, punting, and really just kickoffs in general, unless they're trying to get cute, I'd say you'll just see JT boot it through the end zone.
Brent, I wonder if Bonamego, one of the analysts hired this offseason that's got tons and tons of experience, both in the National Football League and the college realm. I wonder if he has a hand in anything, strategy-wise or, on the punt, the teams. I don't know. We just haven't seen it yet. I mean, Tennessee's been very good on special teams. The coverage units have been fantastic, 98% of the time. But I wonder if adding an experienced analyst like that, knowing that Evan Crabtree, as Austin said, played a big role in what Tennessee's done the past couple years on special teams, I wonder if he can add anything into that.
Well, sure. I mean, you don't hire that guy if you don't think he's bringing things to the table. But, Grant, my recommendation to all of them over there is don't get cute.
Right.
Keep what's the old kiss, keep it simple. I mean, you got a guy who can kick it through the end zone every time. Doesn't he just kick it through the end zone every time, Grant? I mean, I just don't think you overthink that stuff in the kicking game.
I think you could completely change your scheme and philosophy and all this stuff that you want to do on special teams, and you're probably not going to see much of a difference on the field because you're wanting to kick it through the end zone, and not that much is changing. I think it's a big deal to have a veteran to help such a young coordinator that got promoted in Evan Crabtree. I think that's a big deal. But I think the reason we haven't talked about it through the summer and the offseason is because that's one of the only areas where you've got a lot of experience coming back and you don't have a ton of questions that you're trying to answer there.
Yeah, I mean, again, who's going to be the punt returner? How aggressive are they going to be in punt return? And I think they will, again, fair catch most kickoffs. I don't think there's a whole lot of advantages to returning kickoffs unless you got a guy who kicks it really flat. But most of these guys are sky kicking it to the one if they can't get it in the end zone, or they're kicking it through the end zone. There's just not a ton of opportunities for the kickoff return play to be a real factor, which is why rules committees seem to want to talk about it every now and then. Of course, rules committee doesn't make any changes because they can't make any rules in college football in a timely fashion. But that play is becoming almost a wasted play in a lot of ways because so many kids are just kicking it through the end zone, or you're just fair catching it, putting it down at the 25.
More catches this season, Braylon Staley or Travis Smith?
If we're going healthy, I'll go Braylon Staley.
Yeah, that's where I was going to. At the slot position, I would think Staley, if he can stay on the field for the entire season. I do think you're going to see Travis Smith early and often in the season opener against Syracuse. As he's gotten so much work with Brazel being out. I do think you're going to see a lot of Travis Smith early in this game.
Danny is getting some heat for continuing to raise season ticket prices. I believe the wait list is 26,000 or somewhere around there. The numbers support raising the prices. However, does Danny passion to be in everything school eventually lead to fans saying enough is enough and they stop supporting the way that they do?
Depends on how you win, right, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. It's a tough situation to be in because it's the price of doing business and the cost of doing business. But you look across the SEC, I don't think Tennessee's the highest ticket prices in the league. I know they're not the lowest, but the competitors around them, that's just kind of what the landscape is right now. You've got a lot more money that you need. You've got to raise it. I think Danny's done a good job raising money in every possible way that they can raise money and add to that total. But it's tough on the fans when you're getting that email in the middle of the week that 4% is getting added on for 26.
Well, especially coming off the 10% talent fee that they added last year. I mean, you look, they're still doing all the renovations to Neyland, basketball arena, baseball stadium, all those things are still going on. And now they've got to figure out rev share and all that stuff matters. The Adidas still obviously helps, but the number that most of these ADs think it's going to cost to fill a really competitive team in these sports keeps going up, up, up. And so that's the ticket prices go up, up, up.
Yeah, I mean, as an AD, you're trying to figure out, and I'm not defending him because I think that there is a risk that you price yourself out of your price point. And I know that they research it, not just in the SEC, but around the country. Where are we versus the teams we're trying to compete against and we're trying to beat? So where are we versus Penn State's ticket prices and Ohio State's prices and Michigan's prices, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that there's also this is something you can deal with. Okay, we need more revenue. Well, do I want to put in club seats on the east side, on the lower level east side, like I did on the west side? Where's the balance for premium? Am I pricing out the fans? Or is there enough market for more premium? I can make more money off premium if I want to do that, but is that the right thing I need to do for the stadium? That's the thing. I think the hard part for fans right now, if you think about it, I mean, 3 years ago, you were talking about if somebody spent $10 million in football, that was a pretty hefty roster 3 years ago, $10 to $12 million. Now you're hearing $35 million for rosters in football. Basketball, you were spending a couple of million. Now you're talking about spending 10 to 12 million. That doesn't include where you are in baseball. But for the fans, it's some people are being moved in the basketball arena. They're redoing some things there, moving you around. Ticket prices have gone up. Baseball season tickets are probably 4 times what they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Football prices keep going. I mean, it feels like if you're a fan that you're getting them at every turn. I think Tennessee's mindful of that. I don't think it's like they're stuffing the coffers and all those things, but it just the business side of college athletics sucks right now because it's just too expensive. It's just they're pricing themselves out of business in some ways.
You saw that thread on the GQ Hubber talking about Tennessee having kind of this, they're cooking the books as far as the number and the wait list. There's not really 20,000. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. Well, here's the other thing. ADs have to be mindful to not get sucked into the the AD or the agents or whoever pushing that, this school's, got a roster of 40 million. This roster's, 36 million, when it really could be 28, 27.
You can cook that book. You can cook those books.
Yeah, correct. There you go. And which goes back to Danny's point, which is until they go collective bargaining, there's so much unknown out there about all of this. There's no transparency. You don't know, is Texas really spending 40 million? Or are they really spending 30 million? And then all of a sudden when they're at 30 and you're at 27, there's not that much difference between those numbers. Whereas 40 and 27 is a much greater canyon between. So I think until you get transparency, you're going to continue to have people throwing out numbers to help benefit themselves or others, to cause angst in a marketplace that is very chaotic.
The second part of the question about being an everything school and all that stuff, it's football and everything else. Like everything else is great as long as football is winning. It goes back to what Hub said to start with. If you're winning football games, you can send out those emails about a 4% ticket price increase. If you're not,
gotta win.
All the everything else doesn't matter if football's not right.
RockyTopBoy versus Syracuse. If Boo doesn't play and Jalen McMurray gets hurt, who plays the star position? That's interesting, Brent, because we've kind of discussed this before. I think Caleb Beasley would be an option, but also, Colton Hood could be an option. But then again, Jamal McCoy is not playing against Syracuse, so you hope that doesn't happen, obviously. But I think Caleb Beasley would be a guy that could potentially play that spot.
Yeah, and Boo might be on the sidelines available. How much he plays, we don't know. We don't know how Josh Heupel is going to manage the Boo situation for week 1. We keep getting the same answer when asked, and I understand his answer, but it's, well, he's doing some good things. We like some of the things he's doing. He's never said he's back in the lineup or he's this or he's that. So I think that there's a chance Boo could be available in a role. Does he start? Does he play a lot? I don't know. Could they go Colton Hood and play Ty Redmond at corner? Perhaps. Could they go Caleb Beasley, Austin, and then your third safety would be a freshman? I mean, you can manipulate some stuff around there and manage it however you need to manage it in week 1. Now, if you have a long-term injury, then we're having different conversations, obviously.
Yeah, I won't say it's very similar. Heupel's treating Boo in certain ways with the way he's brought him back, kind of way Coach Yost treated Petey, and remember the Titans. Is Allen going to go give him his spot back? Is that what's going to happen here? I mean, I think will be on the field. I think he will be available. Mm-hmm. If you held a gun to my head and said, hey, what do you think is going to happen with Boo in this opener? I think he'll be available. As for how much he plays, I think a lot of that depends on how the game's going and how Boo continues to act over the next 9 days. Like that, it's kind of like who's starting at this position or that position. The next week and a half, and the health of a player or the off-field problems of a player, or lack of off-the-field problems for a player dictate to me whether that player plays against Syracuse. So that's why the next 9 days are important. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think there's, and somebody's asked me this. They said, well, you keep saying this stuff that he's got to stack days and he's got to be this. I mean, does the guy have to be perfect in everything he does? I don't think he has to be perfect, Eric. I just don't think he can have a big misstep. When you leave your team for an extended period of time in the summer months, it's not just, hey, he's done everything he needs to do for 6 days and all is forgiven and all is well. I think there is a building process of trust that has to come in there. And because of that, he can't have any kind of significant misstep. I mean,
yeah, for sure. You got to be where you're supposed to be. Don't need to be late for anything. Need to continue to have good days, because you're not just trying to earn the trust back of your head coach to get on the playing field. You're trying to earn the trust back to your teammates and that leadership committee that has a big say in kind of what your future is. So it's not just I did this day right or I did this week right. It's I did the month of August right for the most part. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to be much, much, much better. I mean, it's got to be on standard with everybody else. How they did the month of July, which was not on par for you, that being Boo Carter.
The roundabout answer is Ryan Gosling could end up playing the star, right? If Petey can't show he can support his teammates in the state championship.
Yost, let my boy in, Yost.
The women might think he's dreamy, but he was a complete liability out there on the island. Okay, complete liability. BarryBoomL. Some random. Actually, we'll go to Volken here.
Wait a minute. Wait. What was that, Grant?
The women thought Sunshine was dreamy, not Allen. We're just talking, remember the Titans, right?
Yeah, the character of Ryan Gosling.
No, Sunshine was not Ryan Gosling. Sunshine was the backup quarterback.
No, Sunshine was the backup quarterback, but Ryan Gosling. Okay, so Ryan Gosling, the corner that was playing, that he had to, that they had to go. He had to go get his position back, right?
In real life, the girls think Ryan Gosling.
Yes,
but in the movie, Grant's right. It was Petey, or not Petey, but it was
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Grant, your point went way over the top of Eric's head in what you were trying to say there.
Was Eric even born in 2000?
I was. Sunshine was the backup quarterback. Ryan Gosling was the corner that was pressed into action. That was not
what
good.
SEC school did Sunshine play quarterback at?
South Carolina Gamecocks.
Daggone it, we're waiting on Eric to answer these questions.
Oh man, my bad.
Would not have gotten that one.
The offensive lineman, he
where does Louis Lastic? Where does he currently reside?
Okay, I'll be quiet this time. Go ahead.
Clarksville. Come on, man. Come on, you got to get with it.
Somebody didn't watch somebody didn't keep watching after the credits.
I've watched Remember the Titans many times. Not after the credits, though.
If I say, and Toby Keith should have been a Cowboy or King. If I said Gene and Roy, who are Gene and Roy?
I don't know.
Austin's out of here.
All right, on to the next question. We've digressed.
We're only 15 minutes in, too.
I know.
Bad news.
This is like the car ride home I fell asleep on.
Bad news.
Volken wants to know what happens with a Boo Carter type situation with their NIL. Does the team find them? Do they renegotiate in the offseason? Do they run them off? If off the field problems make a player in any sport, not just Boo, be not nearly worth the NIL their athletic ability is capable of?
Well, if he's not a part of the team, he's not getting his NIL deal, right, AP?
That's right. Otherwise, I mean, yes, they still get their money. Obviously you can if people wanted to play here next year, you can renegotiate with things in a certain way. But at this point, I think it's really day by day, but it's certainly a year by year thing at this point with Boo and Hubs. You fell asleep in the car ride home once you got your Dunkin' Donut there in Gordonsville, not Carthage.
Yeah, and I think everybody's deals are different around the country. There's some deals where they're front loaded and people get big money up front. There are other deals that are just month to month. Everybody around the country has done. Some people are on multi-years. Some people are on single years. I mean, that's the other part of this. There is no standard contract across the board for NIL. Everybody is doing it different, which again creates some of the angst that Austin was talking about when you're trying to figure out, is the number 30 million, 35 million, 25 million? What's the real number there? All of that, part of that manipulation of numbers can depend on how your NIL deals are structured with various players, because no two players' deals are exactly the same, not just in the dollar figure, but in how they're executed in terms of when they're paid, how they're paid, and what they're paid.
So once again, bring us collective bargaining, bring us a union, bring us a transactions page, just like the NFL has, so we can see exactly what X player was fined for whatever situation's going on, so we can actually answer these questions. Also, Eric, Austin walks into this gas station where Hubs has gotten donuts for years, takes one look at the cabinet, and sends the lady back to the back to get more donuts because the selection, the offering that they have.
That is so not true. Now you're
unsatisfactory.
You're embellishing this.
Me and Hub looked in there, and that lady was.
This lady rolled out a big old cart full of donuts, and Austin's standing there waiting for her to unveil them so he could get the donut he wanted.
Not even true.
He was about to start.
I had already eaten my 2 donuts and drank my orange juice while the car was running, and Austin was waiting for his particular donut to come out.
And that's not true. I'm a glazed guy. They were out of glazed, and I was like, Hubs, what is this old fashioned? He's like, it's just your cake donut with that. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So I'm over there. I'm eating it while I'm checking out, and I'm like, this is terrible. And then she rolls out a big carton, and I'm like, you have any glazed on there? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, perfect. And I'm like, Hubs, it makes me question even working for you that you're pushing me to eat this cake donut with nothing else on it.
I didn't push him to eat anything.
You can't be hating on a cake donut.
I just got my donuts and left.
How long did this excursion take?
The old-fashioned donut.
It was like 6 minutes.
My excursion took about 3 minutes to self-checkout. Austin's excursion took nearly 10 because he had to wait on his donut to come out.
That is not true. None of this is true.
He got it special ordered in the back or whatever he was doing.
The lady had to go to a Dunkin' and fire.
I will take guilt when it is accurate. You are taking liberties, Hubs. You're like the general's quarters with embellishing something I said.
Hey everybody, I want to tell you about our friends over at Home Field Apparel, the exclusive apparel sponsor of Volquest.com. Football season, it is right around the corner. I mean, it's coming up in a hurry. You can almost smell it in the air. And if you're heading on over to Neyland Stadium this fall, you need to be sure that you're decked out in style thanks to Home Field Apparel. And you can do that by getting a Can't Miss Kickoff 2025 campaign. And you're gonna get football boxes, coaching jackets, bomber jackets, and so much more. I got mine the other day in the mail. If you're watching on YouTube right now, watch it. If you're listening to us, go on YouTube and check this out. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I just got right here. Here's my Can't Miss Kickoff box. All right, and doing this in real time here. Check out this hoodie I got. All right, check out the back. Oh yeah. Remember, it specializes in vintage college designs. That's why some of these are so freaking cool. Vintage look. Look at this t-shirt right here. National championship t-shirt. Sign me up for that. And then this might be my favorite. This is a long sleeve t-shirt. Look at these old school logos. Back-to-back 97, 98 SEC champions. Look at these old logos right here. Long sleeve black tee. Sign me up for that, right? So I got those two t-shirts. I got the hoodie. I got a pair of socks as well. And I got this sticker. I got awesome stuff over here in the kickoff box, the Can't Miss Kickoff 2025 campaign, the football box, but also you can get bomber jackets. You can get never-before-seen items that you can't find anywhere else, right? So do what I did and sign up to get this football box. Incredible stuff. It gets you set. It gets you psyched up and ready for the 2025 season. So go to homefieldapparel.com and get started today. Homefieldapparel.com to get started today and get some of this cool stuff, just like I did. BarryBoomL Random Questions. Do you think Gage Ginther ever gets on the field?
I don't know. He's certainly down the depth chart right now.
What did you guys think of Tyler Bray and AJ Johnson as players?
Thought AJ Johnson was a fantastic college football player.
I love that he played on kickoff too.
And it's really unfortunate what happened to him because it derailed his NFL career. He would have had a much longer. If you want to know how good of an athlete AJ Johnson is, Grant, I mean, he was out of football for 2 years and then went and made an NFL team.
And played a lot.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
I thought there were two good football players on just bad football teams in a tough time to be at the University of Tennessee. I mean, AJ Johnson, you go back and look at his tackling numbers. I think it was like 3 years over 100 tackles each season. I mean, I think Bray threw for 3,400 yards or something his final year. I can't remember what the numbers are. It's up there. It's two good football players on tough football teams, bad football teams.
Bonus, the Mountain West Conference college towns or stadiums that you would like to visit the most. Any teams in that conference that you watch in the league?
I don't watch the Mountain West religiously. I would certainly like to go to Wyoming. I was disappointed that Tennessee didn't play that game there years ago because I think that's probably a unique place and it's different than anything you see in the traditional places you go to. So that one would be on my list. I think anytime you can go to San Diego to see the Aztecs, I don't really care about the Aztecs, but if you can go hang out in San Diego for a few days, that's probably not a bad trip.
Honolulu.
Yeah, go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Boise. I'll take Boise.
Yeah. Gonna say, I mean, if Hawaii's on TV late at night, you're not turning the channel typically, and if Boise's on TV, anybody a fan of the Lobos, New Mexico?
Yeah,
I'll hate it.
I'll go to any of these places because no matter where they're at and how kind of out in the middle of nowhere they could be, they're better than an NFL stadium in a neutral site. Danny, let's make it happen.
So you don't about the Mountain West here, but
he controls scheduling from now on. So let's make it happen.
You don't want to see UNLV. You don't want to see UNLV at Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, you don't want to go to Vegas, AP.
Well, no, because we're going to be in Atlanta next weekend, right? Because when you think about Tennessee and Syracuse, you think about the ATL. I mean, when you think about West Virginia and Tennessee, you think about Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, you call Philip Fulmer on those two.
Oh, I agree. It's not Danny. I understand. I get it. I'm just saying he controls scheduling from now on. So let's get back to going places and not to just
play Georgia Tech at Bobby Dodd. Let's not play that.
Do not play it at Mercedes-Benz. 100%. Fans would be so much more excited, even though they're going to the same city. Go just down the street.
Unless you're getting a big cash check,
better be big
to play across town, play about 600 yards away. I might take the money to move 600 yards.
That's why I was so bummed that they, canceled the BYU trip a couple years ago. I was really looking forward to that one.
that would have been awesome.
Yeah. Flyfish21, does this offense work better with a more mobile quarterback? If so, why haven't they recruited any to play?
I mean, I think Nico could be mobile. They didn't elect to run him a lot. I think they're going to be situational with their quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks. Can Joey run? Yes. Are they going to call 12 quarterback draws a game for him? No. In big games, will they run him more? Yeah. I mean, I think when you have a guy like that, you will use them in special situations. Now, I mean, early in the year last year, they ran Nico. I mean, what do you have, a 30-yard touchdown run on a quarterback draw against NC State? And then those kind of went sort of by the wayside, and they stopped running him a good bit, I guess for fear of getting him hurt. Maybe it's because he was banged up. I don't know. But I think every offensive coordinator out there will tell you, Grant, they want a guy who has the ability to escape and a guy who can be mobile. But I don't know that anybody's going to do what Vanderbilt did with Diego Pavia last year and run him like a running back.
It's not sustainable. I mean, sorry, Graham. I mean, that's your quarterback. You can't lead the team in carries, attempts, rushing. That's just not sustainable.
I mean, Nico ran it, 20-plus times at Ohio State in the playoff. I mean, some of that was stuff that he kind of forced, and he probably shouldn't have ran it on some of those. But, I mean, you need a guy that can do it, but you don't have to rely on it. Somebody that can just move the sticks if he's got to move the sticks to keep a drive alive, to escape pressure, whatever. Has that athletic ability, but doesn't. That's not everything that, his game doesn't survive without that athletic ability. It's just got to be something that's mixed in there.
Yeah, I think Nico was probably the best part about Tennessee's offense that night, and he wasn't good. So that just sums up what that game was. DavyVol 1985, starting in 2026-27, do you think the SEC will do the true 1-7 model, give each team one permanent opponent, and flip the entire schedule so all teams play each other over each stadium in the next over the 24-27 window?
Nope. Because that means you're giving up the third Saturday in October. It means you're giving up several key rivalries. Georgia, Auburn. You're giving up several rivalries when you do that.
Yeah, too many teams with multiple rivalries, and it's just not worth forcing these new games between Texas and whoever, Oklahoma and whoever, to get rid of some of the more well-established stuff over the last 100 years.
I mean, it would work well for Tennessee. I mean, because Vanderbilt would be their one, and you just rotate everybody else.
Here's a novel thought. Make a decision on how many conference games you're going to play and put a schedule together, period.
Any kind of decision,
I don't think they're going to go in that model, but, I mean, we're rolling into August, and you don't have any idea what your conference slate's going to be next year. Like, when this whole – I'm not going to get on the soapbox, but this whole indecision of everything in college football is the most maddening thing going right now.
I don't know about you guys, but it reminds me of trying to go out to eat with my family. Like, where do you want to go? I don't care. Where do you want to go? I don't care. What about that place? No. What about that place? No. What about that place? No. And
well, I mean, to me, it's you've got two conferences who can dictate everything in college football, in the SEC and the Big Ten, and neither one of them will take off their conference hat and do something for the greater good of college athletics. Every decision, every discussion point they're making or they're having is some way that they think benefits their league and gives their league some great advantage. Guess what, Big Ten? You're a good league. You're making a crap ton of money in your league. You're fine. SEC, you're fine. Like, how about come together and go, you know what? Let's not go, well, wait a minute. If we manipulate it this way, it helps my league more than it helps their league. How about you go, let's fix a sport that's screwed the frig up right now and fix some things. But instead, we're not going to do that. The Big Ten's floating out, 28 teams in the playoff? Nobody can decide. I mean, they're arguing over when the transfer portal window is supposed to be.
It's sad because they're doing that.
Nobody knows when you can leave.
Yeah.
I mean, so how are you supposed to roster manage in December? Okay? You part of your roster management was you knew who was leaving, and then you could bring in your midterm guys. Now you're going to tell midterm guys, hey, the portal really doesn't open until April, so we don't have room to bring you in because these 8 guys who are leaving can't leave till April, so you guys got to stay in school for your second semester of your senior year and just hang out until we have room for you. Like, make a decision and go. I mean, the proposal for the transfer portal was in January. They can't get together and have meetings because these meetings keep getting canceled because somebody's on vacation. And when they meet, they end the discussion by going, hey, let's meet again next month and talk about this. Like, at some point, make a decision. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
Let's circle back. Let's put a pin in that. Right?
Thank God they're well compensated, though, right?
That's true.
You know?
I'm going to clip that and just keep it on a loop at my house.
It drives me nuts, man. Just make a decision on something.
Did you take your heart medicine this morning? Because otherwise, we'll worry about you.
Functioning Volaholic. At Florida, at Bama versus Georgia. If the Vols win one of the three, which will it be? AP, you still feeling like it would be at Alabama?
I am. I'm sticking to that one.
I'm with you. And mostly it's because, and I recognize Tennessee hasn't won at Bama, just as long as they have won at Florida, but like the way this program has lost in Gainesville, it just kind of sticks with you. So I'm versus Alabama on the road.
I would probably go Alabama if they're playing Florida in September because we're conditioned to believe that Florida is some kind of world beater in September, and then by the time they get to November, they look like a different football team. So what's it going to look like in November? What's on the line? November 22nd, the second to last Saturday of the regular season for both teams, and I don't know. It just that one feels different because it's so late in the year. It feels just very, I don't know, kind of strange. So I guess I would go Florida despite the recent history going against that.
We got Brent.
Oh, I mean,
none of the three.
I mean, I think Grant's logic makes the most sense, but there's a lot of PTSD on how Tennessee has lost games in the swamp. But I think Alabama in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer is going to be a lot better than some other people think. So I think from a matchup standpoint, late in the year, Florida would make more sense. It's just you have lost that game by every means possible in that stadium.
I was checking out Rob scouting the opponent the other day for Alabama. And, overall, the defense was solid, right? I mean, it was 4th in the league in points per game. They gave up 17 points per game. But they only had 25 sacks all year long. That ranked 14th in the league. They were 7th in total defense. They were 7th in rush defense. No, they were 11th in the league in rush defense. I mean, that was points per game was good at the end of the day. Bend but not break. But, that was a very not Nick Saban-esque defensive squad for Alabama last year. I wonder how that side of the football responds in year 2.
Based off everything I've been told, the offense has had their way in fall camp, which makes me wonder what is the impact of Grubb as the OC? Getting him back, from the NFL, how much does that help them? So, I think that could be a big feather in their cap. But everything I've hearing out of Tuscaloosa in fall camp, though, is the offense has had a lot of good days and the defense not so much.
Orange Grizz 2263, what are some ways that the new offensive and defensive analysts have impacted the program? What sort of feedback have you heard from players on these additions? That's the 4 or 5 analysts that Josh Heupel added to his staff this offseason.
I think Grant's just an extra set of eyes for everybody. And it's, what a resource if you're a secondary player and instead of maybe going and seeing Tim Banks, who's doing a million other things, you go see an NFL defensive coordinator in Alan Williams, and you do an individual breakdown of your game on film with him. Obviously, in meetings and discussion and scheme, those guys have input with the coaches, but I think it's a terrific set of resources with for those guys to use, whether it's in their spare time or being coached individually on the practice field.
Yeah, you can't have enough of them. You can't have enough of that kind of resource. I don't know how the impact would be anything but positive. I don't know how there would be a negative impact by bringing in somebody like that can work with your players to that degree.
These are former head coaches at the college realm, former coordinators at the National Football League. That's why I like Jerry Mack on his initial staff a couple of years ago because he was a former head coach, and it just helps your head coach for sure. Orangeton 78, in your opinion, how does the staff remind Joey he's got a much better team around him than his past stop and doesn't have to be Superman without killing the gunslinger mindset that thrives in this offense?
I think you tell Joey to be Joey. You brought him here because you thought he was the best quarterback in the market, so tell him to go play ball. To the poster's point, though, he's never been surrounded by more talent. I know we have tons of questions about wide receiver and all that, but
he's never been surrounded by more talent than he is right now. So, like,
Hey,
he's going to have more help. It's
he's-
just the other defenses are better.
Yeah, he's not played against the caliber of the athlete defensively. I mean, you just go play within yourself, go play within the system and the framework of what they ask you to do. I think sometimes you got to be careful not to overthink it. You don't want to tie up that guy and freeze him up by having him overthink things. Just go play the game.
Swagger 12, AP, what are the chances of these recruits attending a game at Neyland this season? Tristan Keys.
I would say very high.
Tristan Givens.
Not as high, but I think it's still very possible.
Hezekiah Harris.
Very high.
Kamari Blair.
Very high.
Lincoln Watkins.
Very high.
Craig Tutt.
I'm gonna go with that's the least possible of any of them.
All right, ETSUVol. Compare Bryce to Faizon. Bigger upside, better player. Who will make their team better?
Who's Bryce?
I assumed Underwood.
Okay.
Like, that's how I took it. I could be wrong, but that's who I thought he was talking about.
I mean, I've not seen Bryce Underwood. I know he's very talented. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like Faizon. I think next spring is going to be, and next summer is going to be one heck of a quarterback battle at Tennessee, because I think George and Bryce George and Faizon are going to duke it out, and it's going to be a battle we haven't seen at Tennessee in a while from two talented guys.
If Kelsey Poe can reel in Tristan Keys, will he be classified as an elite recruiter, Austin?
I think he's been trending that way. You look at the last three classes of Mike and Braylon Staley, then last year with, Redarius Jackson, Joakim Dodson, and Travis Smith, and then this year, Legend Bay, Celestia Moa, Tyree King. He can add Tristan Keys. Then, I don't know why you wouldn't say. I don't know about elite. I don't know what defines elite, but he's certainly recruited at an elite type level the last 3 years. You got stack years. You got stack years of recruiting. But I mean, he's been fantastic the last 3 years. I asked him about that when he met with the media last week, and he, talked about just, being real and showing failures as much as wins, and, having that resonate with families and so on and so forth. So, again, I think he's done a fantastic job the last 3 years of really kind of showing who he is by who they brought in.
Grant, how is the kid from France looking on the court? Will he play this year, or is he more of a project?
Clarence Masamba, I could answer that question if we had saw him on the court. I mean, he's been here all of 3 to 4 days in Knoxville. Pretty late arrival. Wasn't here for the summer. Tennessee's kind of on a break right now, or they've been on a little bit of a break the last couple of weeks until they kind of get started with their fall stuff. So I do think he's a project. I think he's an end of the rotation guy. See what he looks like down the line, but I don't think he's an immediate impact guy.
Hold on a minute, let's see here. Let's see. I'll pull up my cameras in the facility. He just made a free throw. Okay, good.
RDVOL, I know coaches like to hold things close to the vest, but it seemed like back in 2022, they had a genuine confidence about the team heading into the season. It's nearly impossible for a casual fan to sense the vibes from the coaches. I took a lot away from Heupel the other day. I don't know what you're talking about. How do you think Heupel and his staff feel about this team right now?
Well, I think what they have done collectively as a staff, when you get in front of the media, is I think some guys sort of have stopped being so glowing about everything. I think that's, a little bit hardened to just the grind of this league and how difficult everything is. I don't remember the 22. I don't remember the off season of 22 coaches coming out and going, we're gonna beat top 5 Alabama at home, and we're going to win this game, and we're going to win that. I mean, they were certainly confident. And I think part of that confidence stemmed from the way Hendon Hooker finished the year and what they did with Hendon Hooker and how easily they scored, Grant. And but, there was questions about the wide receiver core going into 22. You think about it. Jalen Hite had done nothing to that point, Grant. Brew McCoy was a newcomer, transfer in, but Velus Jones was gone. Cedric Tillman was gone. They were reshaping their wide receiver room a great deal.
Tillman was there.
Do what?
Tillman was there in 22.
Yeah, he got hurt. You're right. He was there. So there was confidence with him in the preseason. That's right.
And like Drew, you were just going off like the prospect that he was a long time ago.
I think the quarterback thing was the difference because you had a guy who had proven it. I mean, you think about this year, you're not proven at that position. Last year there was hopes, and Lord knows they sold Nico. Remember, he was perfect in practice and never made the same mistake twice, and all of those things that was making decisions at an elite level, I think was the phrase that coaches used in the preseason about him. But he had not done it. The year before, it was Joe Milton. You were banking off what he'd done in the Orange Bowl. You're putting everything on that one game, but there were a lot of people like, can he do it for 12 games type deal? So I think a lot of it stemmed around the quarterback and the fact that Hendon was returning and he had been so good at the end of the 21 season.
Football Fanatic 09 didn't hear any positives on Merklinger in fall camp. What do you predict his future plans to be? Transfer, stick it out at UT. Also, don't consider him the backup option at this time, ?
I think he's the number 2 quarterback, will be reflected on the depth chart. I think if something happened to Joey Aguilar, he would be the first quarterback in the game, although I think both would play. And I think the long term is he will transfer. I think this was his moment in time to win the job. He didn't, and it only gets harder from here because George will have another 6 months in the system, and Faizon will roll in here, and I just think ultimately that leads to him not being here.
I know you don't count the ors for the 2s and the 3s, but do you think there'll be an or there between Merklinger and GMAC?
I don't know.
Always lean on the side of the or.
Yeah, always. If you think there might be one,
go with the or.
DavyVol, we always hear about the unknowns when talking about the receivers, yet we never hear about David Sanders and Jesse Perry. All we hear is praise. Why is that? Aren't they just as big of an unknown as the receivers? I think that's a good point. However, and again, I know Mike Matthews has been doing more here lately, but like those 2 guys have been out there every day and playing. And like for the receivers, you can't really say that for much of fall camp. I think that, at least from perception-wise, has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I think the receivers were average last year, right? And Mike Matthews didn't get on the field over any of those guys. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, those – the other thing, too, is from a viewer standpoint, watching standpoint, it's easier to see if a receiver does well. We don't always know if Jesse Perry's landmark was absolutely perfect on a trap play that he's running, or if they communicated something right. I mean, those guys are going to have growing pains on the right side of the offensive line. I just don't think the casual fan, Grant, can see and visualize and understand what's good and what's bad. So you probably lean more on what coaches are saying about those guys, whereas you're probably doing things more with your own eyes when you talk about the receivers.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a box score, receivers have catches, they have targets, they have yards, they have touchdowns. You look at a box score, offensive lineman got what? Starts, games played. Participation report. I mean, that's what it is. It's what Hub said. It's so much easier to look at receiver and be able to pick it apart and discuss it and try to figure out what was right, what was not right, who's going to play, who's going to do what consistently. I mean, they have questions to answer across the offense, but you tend to go to those skill positions before you go to that offensive line.
Zjsvols, I think our defense is going to be elite. If that does happen, which of these third-year players will most likely declare early for the NFL draft? Jamal McCoy, Ricky Gibson, Arion Carter, Caleb Herring, Davin Hobbs.
Jamal McCoy is 99.9999 with a line over it. Not going to be here a year from now.
Yeah, he's blocked as a first-rounder right now.
Yeah.
He's a top 2 corner with a torn ACL. I think the 2026 NFL draft.
And in some of those, he's not number 2.
Right.
I think Ricky Gibson with a really good year would be gone. Same thing with Arion Carter. Hobbs got to stay healthy. That one, got to stay healthy. Was there one more that they threw on there, Eric?
Herring.
Caleb Herring?
Yes.
I think he'll be back.
No, Elijah.
Oh. Even threw me off there for a second. But Caleb, you have to remember, Caleb was here as a 17-year, so he's only 20. I mean, he's been here 3 years. He's only 20, so he's not an old player. So thus, I would think he would be back a year from now.
Joey Freshwater, how close were we to landing Savion Hiter, and does the staff go all in on the Baylor running back DGG, or is that current status? And what is the current status of that recruiting relationship?
Well, Tennessee felt like they were certainly very close to landing Savion Hiter, but that thing kind of got squirrely once we got to the month of August. So maybe they were never that close. They're all in on David Gabriel Georges. They were there with him before Savion made his decision. Like, you have an elite running back 45, 50 minutes down the road or hour, whatever it is. You're going to be all in on a kid like that. And so there's obviously some people at Baylor that love Tennessee and they're in his corner, and there's more players. I said on the GQ about David Gabriel Georges when somebody was like, he's a lock to Ohio State. He knows more players in Knoxville than he knows at Ohio State. He's a Canadian kid. It's not like he's from Ohio. Ohio State will have an opportunity to land him, but Tennessee will be right there as well.
UTJL36, is it my misconception, or do high-profile star recruit quarterbacks like Faizon not carry as much weight in helping the other highly regarded recruits these days? If so, is NIL the main reason for that?
There you go. Money's involved.
Like, I remember whenever Tennessee obviously got Nico, and that was fairly early. It was early March in that cycle. Like, Tennessee's class was good, but they had more star power, it felt like, Austin, on the defensive side of the football in that class. And not like these big name receivers.
Let's say Tennessee lands Tristan Keys. Tristan Keys loves Faizon Brandon, and I think it would be a small percentage part of his thought process. But at the end of the day, Tristan Keys and his family are going to do what's best for them, much like Faizon and his family are going to do what's best for him. And again, it's going to play a small part. But now that money is involved, Brent, it just changes how things are viewed by families, because they're thinking, some of them are thinking generational wealth, even though it's not really generational wealth, but it is turn your life around wealth for some. And so like thus it changes. The apparel deal doesn't really matter anymore. The playing with that guy doesn't really matter anymore, because this amount of money helps our family.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is, the world's small because of all the ways of communicating with guys. Everybody understands, they're going to do whatever is best for them, but that doesn't mean they're never going to talk to them again. It's not like they've got to wait till 9 o'clock in their dorm room to call their dorm number to talk to them. These guys can text and all this other communications that they have as much as they want to. How many times have you heard a player talk about some guy at another school that they talked to about? David Sanders was talking about an offensive lineman at South Carolina, that he's buddies with, that he talks regularly about some of the things he went through his first year. And they've known each other for a long time. They didn't want to go play necessarily beside each other because of NIL and everything else involved there. But these guys are talking to everybody around the country, which is not something we saw, 10 or 15 years ago. That part of it's different. It's not like the old days where, Peyton Manning's calling everybody on the recruiting list. Hey, coach, give me the list. I'll call these guys every night and try to recruit them that way. The world's just very different, and then obviously the money factor as well.
Pine wants to know, what changes, tweaks do you see? Do you think we'll see in the offense this year now that camp is over?
Oh, I think you'll see some pistol stuff. I think you'll see some motion stuff. We'll see what it develops into and how much it grows or doesn't grow. If it's effective, you can see them staying in some of that stuff. If not, then you'll see them tweak and do some different things. I don't think they ever had a plan last summer to play as much 2 tight end sets as they did. They put it in thinking that it could be effective and liked some of the stuff that he gave them. Then they got into it, and it was the best for that team. So some of the offseason tweaks they've made going back to January, are they the best tweaks for Joey Aguilar? Are they the best tweaks for this receiving core or this offensive line? You have an idea, but you're not going to know until you line up and play against somebody who doesn't know what you're doing every day on the practice field.
Give me the 4 tight end set.
Ooh.
Last question is going to go to LFVOL. One of our offensive principles is to run into light boxes. It seems we are often now being baited into seeing a light box, causing us to run into a defense that shifts late to defend the run. Do you see any counters coming to that in 2025, such as sticking with the pass play when down and distance dictate?
I think, Grant, that it's going to be, well, first of all, he ran the ball effectively last year.
Yeah,
3,000 yards. It's not. Arkansas in the first half obviously got you, and you played poorly there. I think one of the keys to that could be more true RPO game. Do they do that? And can you read Can you read a different key based on the RPO if somebody's trying to do some of that stuff to you? I mean, these guys, Grant, are smart. They make a lot of money. Defensive coordinators make a lot of money to try to defend this offense. Offensive coaches in this system that Josh Heupel has make a lot of money to counter to what teams do to you. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to have some kind of counter. I don't know exactly what it will be, but you'll have some answers to some of those things. But you weren't a bad running football team in any way, shape, or form with those boxes last year.
I think you change based on the numbers and the production. If the production's not there, if the numbers aren't there, then you make changes. Like defenses are going to bait you no matter what you try to do, because that's their job, is to try to get you to see one thing, and then once the ball snapped, they're doing something else. I mean, that's what everybody's trying to do. As long as you're running the way Tennessee has ran under Josh Heupel, the way Josh Heupel's run game has pretty much been the entire time he's been a head coach, you're going to keep doing it and just change as you have to change based on that production.
Yeah, that NC State game last year, week 2, Wolfpack did not want the ball over their DBs' heads. They did not want throwing the football down, so they made it a point. They were like, all right, we're going to keep everything in front of us. And Tennessee said, okay, we're just going to run the football and run it so effectively. And Tennessee just kept doing that all year long and almost ran for a program record rushing yard. Was this the modern era rushing record? I think there's been a couple of years where they had more, but like in the modern era, I think they had it last year. Like they almost had 3,000 yards.
Yeah, they've never had. I mean, they had 4 straight years of 2,500 yards or more running the football. It's never happened in the modern era that way. I think, to your point, Eric, that's why my biggest offensive key for this team this year is what's their red zone production look like? Because I think teams are going to do what you're saying, going to play a little bit of the NC State. We'll let you drive the ball. Can you finish the drive? Can you score inside the 20? Can you finish in the red zone? Or are we going to make you force you to kick a field goal? Are we going to see if you can't have a 12-play drive without a holding penalty or an illegal procedure penalty that puts you behind the sticks that can get you off the field? I think defenses are much more committed to doing that than they are saying, hey, we're going to line up and play press man on the outside and see if we can avoid getting schemed up with a safety in the slot and the guy's running 10 yards wide open. I think that's been the biggest shift that has taken place. Again, there's still times where they have guys open, but it doesn't feel as frequent as it did in 22 because I think defensive coordinators have altered how they attack Tennessee's offensive game plan.
Yeah, Tennessee's got to improve in the red zone specifically this year. I know you've talked about that a ton. The explosive plays, we'll see if the disparity between the last 2 years and the first 2 years is as great this year. A lot of opportunities on offense, even though Tennessee ran the football so effectively last year, to kind of get back, especially with tempo as well. What's that tempo look like? Are they going to slow it down like they did last year or try to go warp speed like they did the first 2 years? A lot of questions. We'll see, hopefully the first couple weeks of the season kind of get a picture of what this offense is going to truly look like with this personnel. All right, that's going to do it here for this edition of the Volquest Mailbag Podcast. Appreciate you guys for being here with Austin Price, Grant Ramey, Brent Hubbs. I'm Eric Kane. Season's right around the corner. So much content at Volquest.com right now. We're getting into game week next week where we'll have our specialty programming. Really looking forward to that. And, of course, constant notes, constant conversation, Brent Hubbs on the journalist quarters each and every day this football season. Recruiting never stops. A lot going on. Now's the time to link up with us over at Volquest.com.
Yeah, if you're not a subscriber, you're missing out. That's the bottom line. Come be a part news, come be a part of the conversation, come be a part of the community that's talking Tennessee football, Tennessee athletics, 365 days a year around the clock. So come be a part. It's not expensive, and you will not be disappointed with the results.
There is a 4% increase.
There's not a 4% increase this year.
No talent fee.
We're
a talent fee for Matt Ray, though.
Well,
there might be an email at some point about 4%.
There's not going to be an email.
No email. Austin Price, Grant Ramey, Brent Hubbs. I'm Eric Kane. Appreciate you guys for joining us here on the Volquest Mailbag Podcast.